Right. What about their YouTube heads? Travel Wolves in the building. Man, I think it's going down. Where all my where all my political science buffs, all my geopolitical experts, all my foreign officers? I was watching this all day today, and I was saddened to hear the news that Iran's president is dead. Let's go ahead and check it out. Nothing is more important right now than world events. I was gonna talk about some other shit, but that shit is goofy shit. Anything else right now to discuss is goofy shit because I'm gonna break it down to you guys. We are in the final stages before World War III. We are literally in the final stages because let me tell you what they've done. These assholes have really just destroyed the world. Let me tell you what they've done after we watch the video. Let me play it for you guys. This is CNN.
And breaking news.
Hello and welcome to our viewers here in the United States and all around the world. I'm Paula Newton and we are following breaking news out of Iran, where state media has now confirmed the death of President Ebrahim Raisi and the country's foreign minister after a deadly helicopter crash. Now, rescue crews are now at a staging area. Those are live pictures where they are trying to assess where exactly the wreckage is and to begin their recovery efforts. Iranian officials say the helicopter ran into trouble amid heavy fog on Sunday afternoon. Images of the crash site in Iran's East Azerbaijan province show the remote mountainous area where the aircraft went down. And you are looking at a photo of it right there. The president and other officials had been attending a ceremony for the opening of a new dam near the border with Azerbaijan. Rescuers faced difficult weather conditions overnight, including cold and heavy fog, as they scrambled to locate the crash site. Iranians were urged to pray for the president amid news of the crash, with the country's supreme leader vowing that there will be no disruption in Iran's work. CNN's Paula Hancock is following all of these developments and joins us now live from Abu Dhabi. We should say state media has officially declared that their president has died, and we have not heard again from the supreme leader. But just if you can bring us right up to date on what happened and any reaction that you have coming in.
If you give me 90 seconds, I'll show you how super basic trading and
YouTube is so awful with these ads. So as you just heard, the president of Iran is
Paul,
dead.
we now do know that 9 people on board that helicopter lost their lives in the eastern Azerbaijan province. We know that the president was on board, the foreign minister. We understand a governor of that province, also an imam of Friday prayers of that province, along with security, the pilots, the crew. So 9 people in all went down with that helicopter. Now, you have mentioned the dire weather conditions. It took rescue teams around 16 hours to be able to locate and get to that area itself. The rescue teams were unable to put a helicopter into the air, they said, because of the weather conditions. The fact that the fog was so thick, visibility was very limited. We also heard from the rescue teams that there were sub-zero temperatures, that it was extremely cold in these areas. You can see from the images a very mountainous area, inhospitable terrain, and sparsely populated. So that's the latest information we have. We do know also from state media that the government has convened an urgent meeting. They say that, according to a photo that was provided by state media, that the chair that President Raisi would usually sit in had a black sash across it for mourning. We understand from state media as well that there will be details in the hours to come about the mourning procession, the process, the timing, the details. All those will come to us shortly through state media. But people in Iran will be waking up this Monday morning to this shocking news that both the president and also the top diplomat have lost their lives in this helicopter crash. Of course, questions will be asked internally now about what happened, about whether why this helicopter was.
Hey, just a disclaimer. I would say everyone, well, be very careful what we say here because we all know what it is, but you know who's listening, and you know they don't want no truth to come out. I'm not trying to get murked because some of these intelligence agencies are very, very efficient. But so just be careful. But yeah, we know what happened. We are not stupid. We know what happened. Okay. This comes days after Iran launched a massive strike on Israel. Okay, they launched a massive strike on Israel. We're not sure what the damage was, the ramifications, but this was what they did. This is what happened after their massive strike on Israel. So now, I mean, it's not about questioning everything because what's done is done. What's done is done, and the question is, does this put us into World War III? Does this put us into a status of World War III? And if it does, what can we expect? What are the ramifications of that? Is it going to be conventional? Is it going to be atomic? Is it going to be a draft? Is it going to be a 2-year world war or a 20-year world war? What is it going to do to the economy? What are the things that really matter right now? Inflation, movement, travel, the things that really matter right now, the stability of the world, especially the travel community, the stability of the world and other governments. What's going to happen next? What is the next move? Because if people were involved in this as if this was going to solve a solution, my analysis is this only made the solution worse. Because remember, they killed the top general. They killed Iran's top general. And then a year later, they came back and blew up his memorial. So now you got to do this situation with the president. Are there going to be other things that happen during the mourning of this president? Is this what people want? Do people want to provoke Iran to commit to a stage, a theater of war, or do they want to internally have Iran go through another revolution, another culture explosion? Okay, so I just wanted to bring this to you guys' attention because I was going to get on here and talk about some other shit, but right now I feel like that's bullshit. Anything else right now to talk about on YouTube is bullshit when you got fucking World War III coming. Because let me tell you, World War III breaks out. There's no more of the shit that we're doing right now. There's no more traveling. There's no more of that shit. That shit's over. All Americans are gonna have to come home from wherever you're at. They're gonna call you back. If you stay in another country, you stay at your own peril because it's too unpredictable about what's gonna happen. And so I'm glad that I'm back home right now because that lets me know. I always had like this fantasy when I went to Brazil the first time. I always had this weird fantasy that I would be in Brazil in my apartment, and you know how you're supposed to report in with the embassy so they know where to find you. And I would be in my apartment, and I hear this knock on the door, and they'll say, "U.S. Marines, open up! U.S. Marines, open up!" And they'd be like, they'll point their guns at me, and they say, "Are you by my name?" And then I show them my passport, and they say, "Come on, we got to get out of here. Just come on, don't grab anything. Come on, we got to go, we got to go, we got to go." The helo. Oh man, I was on mute the whole time. Oh shit. Okay. Well, let me finish playing the thing for you guys.
In the air with such dire weather conditions. We know it was in a convoy. There were 3 helicopters in all carrying the delegation of President Raisi from this inauguration of the dam project just on the border with Azerbaijan. There were 3 helicopters. 2 of them landed safely, but the one carrying the president and the foreign minister, we know now, did not.
Paula Hancock's for us in Abu Dhabi, continuing to track reaction. Really appreciate it. I want to bring in CNN's chief international anchor now, Christian Amanpour. Christian, really good to have your insights here. You interviewed the foreign minister a little bit over a year ago. You tried to interview the president. I just want to get your reaction to what really has been shocking news.
Well, Paula, it is obviously shocking news, and it couldn't come at a more unstable
Oh, okay,
time
so
for
you did hear
Iran
me. Okay.
and for the region.
Okay, yeah, so you did hear me. All right. So, yeah, so I always, because, you know, when I was down there, it was the guy who's the president now and the incumbent. They were going at it. Their Brazilian Donald Trump, who became the president, the incumbents were going against him. And they would have these crazy, like, spontaneous parades where you'd be sitting, we would be sitting in a restaurant, or you would walk out your door, and there would just be this procession of cars. It was like every other day, it was a different group of people for either side with these cars, parading and strutting around and yelling and screaming and everything. And so it was like a rough time in Brazil for me because I didn't know what was going to happen. And, you know, when you're going into Rio de Janeiro. And, you know, when you go down into Rio or most cities in Brazil, they walk around with the real military carbines, which I swear look bigger than the commercial ones or the semi-military ones, the ones that they sell in the store, the ARs. They have the real AR, I think it's the AR-15M or R, so it has a different number to it. But that shit looks fucking big, and it's on the guy's chest and everything. It's like, man, that shit'll kill you from 50 yards away, you know? So, anyway, this might be it, man. It might be traveling might be over. The traveling might be over. This freedom, this shit that we've been doing, it might be over because World War III breaks out. I mean, it's one thing you had the wars with you had Desert Storm and all that. That was minor. That was minor compared to an entire war. I mean, honestly, war is nothing new to the planet, but World War III would be something new to the planet, you know? And I'm going to bring up to you my points real quick. I'm not going to keep this long. I'm going to play some video. I'm going to get my points together because this just happened like right now. And I'm going to show you who's in charge. I'm going to show you who's in charge now. And not much is known about this guy. The number 2 guy, not much is known about him. Yeah, we're gonna take a look at this guy and see who he is, see who the number 2 is, and you know, we're gonna figure this out. I'm just saying it's a question I have for everyone. You know, hopefully there is no draft. If there's World War III, there's gonna be a draft. If there's World War III, there's gonna be a draft, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna hide my nephew underneath the floorboards. He hasn't even completed the selective service yet, so we're going to pretend like we forgot about that. Yeah, if there's World War III, it's going to be a draft. If it's conventional, they're going to need a draft because this shit is going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And so I'm going to show you the history of this. So what started the First World War? The First World War, this has always been a popular topic for me. The First World War was started by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. Okay? That's what started the First World War. An assassination. Hint, hint, an assassination.
started the First World War. Now, the Second World War was started by the invasion of Poland, okay? The invasion of Poland, and then Great Britain and France declared war on Germany, and that started the Second World War. Hint, 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 hint. So I can speak about the latter. You guys may have known, well, you guys know that Russia invaded Ukraine, and recently Great Britain has, in an indirect way, said that they're at war with Russia. Why is that an indirect way? Because they made a statement that they gave the Ukrainians permission to use the weapons they supplied them with against Russia. And that would make them an indirect belligerent in the war. Because those weapons were for, I know it sounds crazy, those weapons were for offensive purposes, but now they're using them for defensive purposes. Don't ask, don't worry about it. It's too crazy to explain. They gave them, Great Britain gave them weapons for offensive purposes, but they're using them for defensive purposes, which makes Great Britain a part of the war because they have weapons coming directly from Great Britain. It's not like how America does things when they use arms dealers and middlemen and things like that. Okay. And then you heard about France. France has been secretly preparing for war. France has put all their resources and forces on alert, and they're secretly preparing. Nobody's not sure yet what they're going to do, but the way that the war in the Ukraine is going, if the Ukraine falls into Russian hands, if Ukraine falls back into Russian hands, you can pretty much bet your titty that Great Britain and France are going to declare war on Russia because that's what happened in the past. So we have the two commonalities. We have the invasion that started the Second World War, and we have another thing where a leader of a country was murdered that started the First World War. Okay, so we have similarities. History is all about similarities, and the problem with America right now is that America is going through a French Revolution. America is going into an era that's going to be similar to the French Revolution, where Trump becomes president again. There's no way that Trump loses this time. So he becomes president again, and civil war breaks out. Those are the two choices. You stay with Biden, you got World War III. You stay with Trump, you got civil war. Either way, we're screwed. But because of what they just did now, World War III, I would say it sounds imminent. I would say it sounds imminent. I just don't see how they're going to pull back from this. I just don't see it. So it's important that we know the players. So let's get to the players. So this is the number two. This is the number two guy. This is the guy who was in charge of Iran now. This guy right here. Mohammed Mokber. He's in charge of Iran right now. And I hope he doesn't have a Western education. Okay? I hope he doesn't have a Western education. But so this is the guy right here. I want to see where he was educated at. I want to see where his education is from. Because if he has a Western education, that's going to make it a lot worse. A lot worse. But anyway, this is the number two guy. Let's see where his education is. Where is he educated from? This is the number two guy. He running a show now. He's running a show now. See, they don't tell you where his education was from. A doctorate in international law. Received. Okay. So he was educated in Iran. That's good. That's good to know. Okay. So he's not Western educated. That's good to know. See, the thing about a lot of these guys is that some of them were Western educated. A lot of these Iranians that are older now running the country, they were Western educated, you know? So that's good that he wasn't Western educated. That's very good. So oh man, this is just crazy, bro. I'm really speechless. Let me look at the rest of the video. Let me go back to what happened, give you guys a story a little bit more color.
Iran faces, as you know, those internal protests and discontent that have been crushed brutally in the aftermath of Mahsa Amini's death, and that was under the direction of President Raisi and the Supreme Leader and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. It also comes at a time when this Israel war on Gaza against Hamas continues, and as you know, the perennial shadow war between Israel and Iran that had been going on broke into the open over the last several weeks. That somewhat subsided after a reaction from both sides, but nonetheless, it shows the peril of the situation. You can imagine for the United States, for the West, one of the most important issues is the Iran nuclear issue. That had been somewhat contained after the 2015 nuclear agreement that President Obama negotiated with Iran and with Europe and was rubber stamped, or rather stamped into officialdom by the entire United Nations process. President Trump, at the urging also of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, pulled the United States out of that, and that caused much more uncertainty and stability over the process of the Iran nuclear program. We understand over the last week or so there was some word from the IAEA, the UN nuclear agency, that they were back in talks with Iran to make sure that everything was happening above board and within the nuclear regulations, the Non-Proliferation Treaty. We wait to see what kind of work they were doing on that. And it's known that the United States is trying to stabilize issues with Iran, given the volatility of the region right now. As for inside Iran, as you mentioned, the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei issued many statements before the news that he had actually been found dead, saying that the nation was praying, and you're bound to see days, if not weeks, of official mourning organized all over the country. He also said that the affairs of the country will not be disrupted or disturbed. To that point, there is a act of succession. There is a line of succession. There's a first vice president, and you're bound to see at least interim measures being put in place to ensure the continuous running of the system. At one point, before the Mahsa Amini death and before the protests and the riots back in 2022, Raisi, a very hardline fundamentalist, was being considered a successor to the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, who himself is elderly. News of his ill health and sort of frailty have appeared to be vastly overstated over the years. However, he is aging, and there needs to be a succession there in place if that system is to continue. Raisi was then considered to have somewhat disqualified himself or besmirched and sullied his reputation, given the political and popular uprisings against him inside Iran, as well as the economy being really bad for the people. He is not considered to have brought prosperity at all to the Iranian nation. And if you look online on social media, you can see the reaction from many, many people, both outside and inside Iran. His most recent legacy will have been the brutal crackdown on the freedom life protesters, the women life freedom protesters.
Okay, let me get out of here because they talking this rhetoric where they be talking this rhetoric where like they make me laugh. The international community makes me laugh when they condemn these countries for cracking down on freedom protests when in America they do the same shit. They're doing it right now. In America, they're cracking down on free speech. But nobody's condemning that. You see how it works? It don't work that way. It doesn't work. It's not okay in their country, but it's okay to do it here. No, it's not okay to do it in America. I don't know about anywhere else. There's no free speech anywhere else in the world, but in America, it's written on a piece of paper. But yet they're stealing our free speech right before our eyes. So let me get out of here before that. Yeah, I gotta love the geopolitics of it all, but I just wanted to make, bring this to everyone's attention who's watching my channel, because we travel and this is important news. People are talking about bots and this and that and all this other bullshit, and man, at this point, all that shit is over. If you ain't get out here now and go to another country, you need to do it and do it soon and come back quick. You need to go for a week and go get it out your system, because I think things are going to change very drastically come Monday morning. In a lot of places right now, it's becoming Monday morning. This is a fucking nightmare. And ironically, they updated the wiki. They updated the wiki mad quick. See, I don't want to use the C word. I don't want to use the C word, but if you look here, you can see they updated the wiki mad quick. Look, following the death of President of Iran, Ebrahim Raisi, he has assumed the role of acting president of Iran. They updated the wiki very, very quick. Very, very quick. Okay, so he's got nuclear or ballistic missile activity under his belt. So they had him on sanctions. Okay. So we got the Constitution here, of the Constitution of Iran. This is good to know. Let's see what it says. Let's see what the Constitution says about succession. In case of death, dismissal, resignation, absence, or illness lasting longer than 2 months of the president, or when his term in office has ended and a new president has not been elected due to some impediments or similar other circumstances, his first deputy should assume, with approval of the leader, the powers and functions of the president. The council, consisting of the Speaker of the Islamic Consultative Assembly, head of the judicial power, and the first deputy of the president, is obliged to arrange for a new president to be elected within a maximum period of 50 days. So in 50 days, they got to hold a new election. Before 50 days, they got to elect a new president. In case of the death of the first deputy or the president, or other matters which prevent him to perform his duties, or when the president does not have a first deputy, the leader shall appoint another person in his place. So that's the supreme leader. So they might be trying to decapitate. Exactly. Ain't gonna be no box. All this is over with. I mean, to be honest with you, I smell World War III. I smell World War III. To be honest with you, I'm about to meditate. I'm about to pray. I'm about to tell everybody I ever loved. I love them one more time, and that's it, because it's a high probability it's going to be nuclear. It's a high probability it's going to be nuclear, and America is going to start it, because America is the only country that has first strike nuclear capabilities. People don't understand that, but they do. Only America has first strike nuclear capabilities. What does that mean? That means that they can shoot down everybody else's shit. So that's what that means. They can shoot down everybody else's shit. So they can launch their missiles first from the subs. They'll be undetected. They can launch their missiles. They got bombers and missiles and stealth bombers. and most countries won't even know what happened until it's too late. And they might be able to get a few off because they have mobile launchers. Like Russia has 10,000 mobile launchers that can't be found until they launch. So, no, not 10,000. I think it's 7,000. Yeah. So, even if they knock out enough, World War III basically is just gonna be the end of humanity as we know it. Like, it's over. It's over. As we know it, it's over. If you're not able to get in one of those bunkers, or somebody's knocking at your door, it's over as we know it. I think I think I'll be relatively safe because I'm in Hawaii, and there's a major base here. There's two, and the NSA's up the street, so I think they will protect Hawaii. But the continuous U.S. is doomed. North America is doomed. So that's my predictions. And if you're a foreigner in another country right now, you may not have a country to link your passport to, which is why it was always important to get citizenship in other countries, because you don't want to be a citizen in state, I think it's called, or out in state, I think it's called, where you don't have a country, But I think World War III is coming, man. That's my take. I think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen before the election in November, because this way, if they feel that Biden can't win, it gives him an opportunity to dissuade people from voting for Trump. Because usually during war, they support the president we already got. That's what would be the only way to sway everyone's mind. Because Trump is like Pac-Man right now. He's winning. He's gobbling it up. And if he comes back, it's going to be the French Revolution. It's going to be heads, executions in the square. It's going to be executions in the square. It's going to be fucking on and popping. It's going to be executions at 3 p.m. Payback. He already said that, It's going to be payback. There's a good video that somebody did. Let me see if I can find it for you. It's from a channel called Diary of a CEO. You should watch it. I gotta order her book. She says New Zealand and Australia are where you really want to be. Those are the only places that you will be able to survive. Only places you'll be able to survive a nuclear war. Okay, so, and it's a good podcast to watch. CEO Diary or something like that. What is it called? The Diary of a CEO. That's what it's called. That's the channel. The channel is called The Diary of a CEO. Damn, Ronda Rousey, what happened to you? Ronda Rousey used to be a cute white girl. I don't know what they done did to her. They let her get beat up, split her ear open. She used to be a cute white girl. She was almost white bae. White bae. I don't know what happened to her. All right, here goes the video right here you can look at. It'll tell you about nuclear war. It's called nuclear war expert, 72 minutes to wipe out humanity. 72 minutes in the hands of one person. Ann Jacobson. I gotta get her book. Her book is pretty deep. I've heard, they said in the podcast. This is the title of the video. Go check it out. She tells you where you got to live and how you can survive. But ultimately, what happens is radiation poison gets us. Radiation poison gets us. In the air, in the water, everywhere. So even if you like right now, you couldn't stockpile enough water. And once the water goes, you go. The water is radioactive. It be contaminated. we just weren't prepared. We just weren't prepared for this. I probably think people would fight mostly over water, and the only thing of value you might have is some gold or your body. Some gold or your body. I mean, you're talking about total lawlessness. Damn, what they do to Ronda Rousey? Ronda Rousey was the shit. What they do to white girl Bay? What they do to white girl Bay? Damn. All right, I have to look at that. I don't know what they did to Ronda Rousey. She was a white girl Bay. Maybe I'll do a video of my favorite white girls. I'll do white girl Bay. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about passport bro shit, I'm about to delete those lives I have planned. Because if you're talking about passport bro shit and you're not talking about World War III, you're just ignorant as fuck right now. I'm about to delete those other lives I have planned because how the fuck I'm gonna be ignoring? Like, there's some things going on that you just can't ignore. Let me go delete those other lives because I might talk about movies. I might talk about nuclear war movies. It's some pretty cool nuclear war movies to watch, like War Games and Damnation Alley and By Dawn's Early Light and what's the other one? Let me go and delete this. Yeah, I mean, it ain't no point. These passport bros got a break. They caught a lucky break. Because it's not even important to talk about. Like, if you talk about traveling right now and you're just ignoring what's going on. Oh, by the way, there's a fucking war next door. Like, someone told me today to go to Germany, and I was like, go to Germany for what? I'm so glad I didn't go. Can you imagine traveling to Germany right now and then you hear about this shit happening? Like, you hear about the president of Iran dead. When you're traveling to Germany, which has a very, very huge Iranian population, pro-Iran or not pro-Iran. I mean, pro-Iran or pro-Western doesn't matter. But can you imagine, like, this shit is like gonna take over the attention of everybody. It's gonna take over the attention of everybody. Yeah, but I mean, people in Europe especially are way more enlightened than in America. And they really pay attention to what's going on. They really pay attention to what's going on. So, you know, they are not about to just be like, oh, Iran's president died. Oh well, nobody is really going to sweep this under the rug. I mean, life. Luckily for us, it's gonna be like it's not gonna be like normal wars, right? It's not gonna be like normal wars. There are some countries that are fucked. Those are mostly the landlocked ones, like in Europe. Maybe the East African countries, right? They're fucked. The landlocked ones in Europe, they're fucked. And maybe South Korea is fucked. Some countries are just going to be fucked because they're landlocked to other hostilities. But through the advent of the internet, commerce will still go on, business will still go on. If China gets involved, we're all going to be naked and without a bunch of shit, so it won't matter anyway. So if China gets involved, you know what? I'm going to tell you what they can do. I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. This is what you got to look for. 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 If they don't do this, if they don't do this and do this soon, okay, here it goes. India has been elected to the council 8 times the total with the most recent P5 accounting for 8 of the world's. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but hold on a minute. Let me make sure I don't put my foot in my mouth. China. I'm trying to see. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. So, okay, here we go. Okay, so okay, so as you know, the most powerful government in the world is not America. The most powerful government in the world is the United Nations. It shares special districts with it has special districts in other countries. Now, the United Nations is governed primarily by the Security Council, okay? And there's only a handful of countries that are permanent members of the UN Security Council. And there's one country that may be able to break that. They may be able to break that. And it's kind of long overdue because in the grand scheme of things, they kind of sit on the sidelines, but they have the population and they have the GDP to qualify, or like they're on the same level as the countries that are permanent members. But the way that the permanent members set it up, they set it up so that nobody else would be as powerful as them in this country. Okay, so this is the UN Security Council, the United Nations Security Council. Okay, and it's charged with ensuring international peace and security. Okay, and right now it consists of 5 permanent members, which are the most powerful. They have the most votes: China, France, Russia, United Kingdom, and the United States. Okay, I don't know how they say France was a victor in World War II, but whatever. So these nations can veto anybody. They have permanent veto rights, and that's the biggest thing. Now, I'm thinking that there are some non-permanent members who get to vote. But I'm thinking if they let India in as a permanent member, they let India in as a permanent member, okay? That might strave off. What's up, Tony? What's up? Yeah, I'm doing my thing, Tony. That might, if they let India in the UN Security Council as a permanent member, only as a permanent member, that might strave off World War III. I'm gonna tell you why. That might strave off World War III and keep some clothes on our motherfucking ass. Because let me see if you guys want to come up and chit chat with me about this. And this is why. because India is nuclear. India is a nuclear power. India is the last nuclear power. I put the link to the chat. You guys want to come up and chit chat with me about this? India is the last nuclear power. So if they're a member, if they're on the inside, they may be able to prevent World War III, the total destruction of the planet. You know, even a conventional war is bad right now. Even the World War III that's conventional, it won't stay conventional for long, because if any one of the belligerents lose, you know. But I think what's going to happen is the only move for Iran is to use the rumored nuclear material they have. And I don't know what they got planned. They got drones. They got some nuclear material. You know, they'll figure it out. But that might be the only move for them. Because remember, Israel killed their top general, right? Israel killed the top general. Then they came back and blew up his memorial funeral, his anniversary. On the anniversary of his death, they came back and blew that up too. So I don't know how much punishment they think Iran is going to take. I don't see Iran taking much more punishment. I don't see Iran taking a lot more punishment, you know. So the U.S. takes credit for killing him in a drone strike in 2020 in Tehran. So the U.S. they did a drone strike. Okay, they killed him. So the U.S. takes credit for killing him. Okay, and then this happens, and then on the day of his funeral, they blew that up. Okay, so the day of his funeral, they blew that up. You know, I don't know if you guys remember that. So I got the wrong guy. So they bombed his memorial. Okay. So that's it. You know what I'm saying? So they blew up that. So yeah, I'm just reading this. It's all so depressing. It's all so depressing right now. I was really hoping to travel again, but I don't know. I don't know who I'm gonna do it. I don't know who I'm gonna do it. All right, let me call my sweetheart back. She's over here dodging on me. See what's going on. All right, though, guys, that's all I got for today. I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Let me delete this so nobody can use it. But yeah, I think it's safe to say these passport dudes got a pass from me, because I really want to focus on this. This is way more interesting to me to talk about. Watching the movement, seeing World War III develop or be avoided, it's way more interesting to me. I had something funny to share with you guys, but it's just not as important. And I'm really trying to grow my channel, and these guys just aren't going to get my channel to grow, because they're so boring. You know, they're so boring. It's not even funny how boring they are. But anyway, all right, that's all I got for today. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.